Pastor Roy Gerhardt from Galloway United Methodist Church in Franklin, Pennsylvania, sharing a few words of encouragement to help us follow after Jesus. It's important that you and I learn to take responsibility for ourselves in life, that we own our choices and are willing to accept the burden of responsibility for what we do with ourselves. That's really important when it comes to our spiritual life as well. We really can't put the burden off onto someone else or the responsibility for our spiritual life and growth. We've got to have our own connection with God that we cultivate, that we're responsible for, and that we're living out. Sadly, I think that there are a lot of people in this life, though, who try to pass the buck to others in this matter. I've known a lot of spouses over the years where one goes to church and one doesn't, or maybe only goes occasionally. And many times over, the one who only goes occasionally will count themselves in, as if their spouse attending represents them as a team. I've also seen many times where talking to someone about the Lord and exploring where their faith is at, that they are quick to bring up someone in their life who is a really great spiritual example. They may talk about a grandma who prayed and was a great saint, or a friend who has great character and someone that they really look up to. And they bring that up as if somehow having that person in their life kind of carries that burden, as if somehow they are there as someone they can turn to if they needed something spiritual in their lives. It's clear that they're not carrying that themselves. Sometimes I think that people even attend church expecting the church or the pastor to carry the burden for their spiritual walk. There are people that I think may attend church and they demand that they have a great preacher who preaches the word and who lives it. But they themselves, well, they head out the door each week to go on with their life on their own terms. They don't crack open a Bible. They don't pray. They just want somebody else to be there to tell them what it says and to say a prayer for them when they need it. You see, there's something about that says that we're transferring the responsibility and the burden for our own spiritual walk onto someone else. I took notice this week in the book of Exodus that there were people who were expecting to do that with Moses. We've been looking at Exodus 16 and 17 this week, and we've watched the people enter into the trail of grumbling. They've taken up kind of a cycle where a problem occurs and they come and complain. They grumble and murmur. Not only do they come and complain to Moses about the problems, but they complain about Moses. And they complain about Moses and about their problems in a way that says, Moses, you're supposed to fix this. You're the one who's supposed to get God to do something about this. I really caught my attention in Exodus 17 this week that when the people came to Moses complaining about the lack of water, that he pushed back on their complaints. And he said to them, why are you complaining to me? I mean, it's like, who am I? Do you think that I'm God, that I'm able to fix these problems? He said, you're really complaining about God and putting him to the test. Basically, Moses is saying to them, you really ought to be talking to God, not me, about all of this. And it's clear that they weren't really talking to God. They didn't think that was their responsibility. That was Moses' thing to do. And they were just there to complain to him about the problems so that he could get something done about it. There are lots of people who want to transfer all of those kind of responsibilities to someone else so that they don't have to carry it themselves. In the book of James, we're told that there are two reasons why people don't get answers from God. In the 4th chapter of James, he says, you people get in all kinds of quarrels and scraps in life, and it's because you're not getting what you want. And you don't get anything, he says, because you don't talk to God. He said, the number one reason that you don't get any answers is because you don't ask. If you don't say a prayer, God can't answer that prayer. The second reason, James said, is because you're just selfish. You're not interested in knowing God's plan and being a part of that. And you don't want to know his will and be able to conform to it in some way. You just want God to come and do your will so that your plans come to fruition. You see, you and I have got to recognize that if we're going to pursue God, then we have to pursue God as God. And the one that we would put our lives into his hands, and we have to actually engage that on our own. You can't just come in a crisis and have somebody else pray for you and then walk away and not talk with God. You and I have got to step up to speak with the Lord and put our lives into his hands so that we can know him ourselves. May God bless you today, and as you share this good news, may God make you a blessing wherever he takes you.